The story of Oberlin Preserve begins more than 175 years ago. This 62-acre property in Oberlin, Ohio, includes a 30-acre restored native prairie and wet woods habitat. It sits at the head of a tributary that eventually flows into the Black River. Blazing stars, cardinal flowers, blue lobelia paint a palette of colors across the prairie. Monarch, buckeye, and swallowtail butterflies dance from bud to bud. Box turtles nest in the swampy woods. Magnolia warblers, wood thrush, chimney swifts fly across the open skies. But the natural history of this preserve, its ecological aspects, is only half the story.
A lot of times we think of history as objects or documents or photographs, but it is landscapes as well, both natural and the built landscape.
Around 1840, John and Delilah Copeland arrived in Oberlin. They were freed blacks fleeing the persecution and racism they faced in North Carolina. They purchased the property that is now known as the Oberlin Preserve. John became active in the abolitionist movement, organizing both whites and blacks in Oberlin to provide safe haven for men and women fleeing slavery in the South. His son, John A. Copeland Jr., followed in his father's footsteps, taking part in the daring Oberlin-Wellington Rescue of 1858. A year later, the Copeland family was marked by tragedy. John Copeland Jr. joined the raid on Harpers Ferry in Virginia, an unsuccessful attempt to spark a slave revolt that many claim to be the prelude to the Civil War. He was captured, tried, and sentenced to be hung for his crimes. On his way to the gallows, John's final words rang out.
If I'm dying for freedom, I could not die for a better cause. I had rather die than be a slave.
Oberlin Preserve has a rich history, a catalyst for anti-slavery efforts in Ohio, a stop on the Underground Railroad, a place and a prayer for freedom. Our efforts over the last several decades resulted in the preservation of a property with historical and natural significance.
It was a tough farm field for people who farmed it. It was a wet, hard clay farm field. And the fact that we have a prairie here is really something special.
It's just another example of persistence pays off.